Hey, it's Nate with another piano tutorial. Today I'm doing These Days by Jackson Browne, first recorded by Nico. Such a great song, and Jackson Browne wrote it when he was 16. I struggled a bit with how I wanted to teach it because the Jackson Browne and Nico versions are both popular and pretty different. They're in the same key, but some of the lyrics are super different and the pacing and some of the chords are different as well. So I made 2 chords and lyrics charts, one for each version. You can take your pick. That said, I'm going to primarily focus on the Jackson Browne version here. But once I take you through the song, I'll spend a little time showing you what's different about the Nico recording. Let's jump in. Okay, so first off, I recommend you download the chords and lyrics chart. As I mentioned, there's both a Jackson Browne and Nico version, but there's links down in the description that'll help you follow along and see where the chords line up with the words. And this song is in the key of F major. So that's all white keys, but the B's are flat. And this is middle C here for reference. I'm gonna spend a lot of time right around there with the right hand. So here's the chords for the intro. It's just 2 measures long and repeats twice. Let's look at the left hand first. So if we look at the notes the left hand plays in this first measure, so either the chord or if there's a slash, it's the note that comes after the slash. All that's happening here is we're just stepping down F, E, D, C, B flat. So just stepping down. And by the way, we're in 4/4 time, kind of a nice slow pulse. So that's just on every count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then landing on B flat, 2, 3, 4. So for the right hand, let's just take it chord by chord. We've got this F chord, and we're gonna do it C, F, A. Now when we step down to the E in the left hand, we're gonna do this C sus4 chord here, so that's going to be C, F, and A. I'm doing 1, 3, 4 for the fingers, so that just flows really nicely. We're basically just taking the top note down to a G. Now we're going to go right back to that F shape for the D minor 7, and then same thing, F over C, and then finally to B flat major here. We're going to do D, F, and B flat here. I know it says B flat major 7. It sort of does both. It hits the B flat major first and then just drops that pinky down to hear that that major 7th. And you can do that like 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of splitting the measure in half. Or sometimes I like to do 1, 2, and 3, 4. Let's just do this a couple more times. So just really not a lot of movement out of the right hand here. We're just mostly on that same shape. Well, so that would be the verse starting. Here's the chords for the verse, and that's all you need for the rest of the song. The song is just a bunch of verses. There's no separate chorus to learn. You'll notice that it starts off with the same thing we just learned for the intro. With the singing, that's gonna be, well, I've been out walking, I don't do that much talking these days. Okay, so now this next line, we're gonna go to F, but it's gonna be a different inversion this time. I'm gonna do it like this. So I'm gonna come down lower with the left hand as well, and it's gonna be A, C, and F with my second finger on C there. These days for just one measure. Now we're gonna go to a C. Our thumb in the left hand is already ready to do that. I'm just gonna move my hand down there. G, C, and E. 2, 3, 4. And then we've got 2 measures of B flat. Just a regular old B flat major this time. Use my second finger for the bass note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just for 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're just gonna go right back to this F. 2, 3, 4, right back to the same C we did. 1, 2. Okay, now this is an interesting moment. It actually steps outside the key signature a little bit, and we're gonna have a A7 over C sharp. The bass line on the recording actually kind of does. So it's gonna hit that C sharp on beat 3 of that measure when it switches to this chord, and then on beat 4, you could go down to the A root. It sounds really nice there. And so that's from that C, The only thing that's changing in the right hand is you're going up to a C sharp there. Let me play through those 6 measures one more time. So that's going to be these days. So just doing light quarter notes here on every count. These days I seem to think a lot about the things that I forgot to do for you. So I kind of like coming up to my second finger there. There's a lot of ways you can finger that. You can feel it out. Okay, this next section is going to sound like this. And all the times I had the chance to. So in this measure, we've got a D minor. We're going to do that same as the C shape. We're just coming up to the A, D, F. Then for the A minor 7, all we need to do is move the right hand down back to that C chord, but with an A bass note this time. I'm using my 4th finger. You get that nice minor 7 sound. And on the way to that A bass note, it hits a G, and I think that's kind of important. The timing here, you need to be thinking in 8th notes. So 1, 2, and 3, 4. Again, on beat 1, you play the chord like that. On beat 2, you go to the G, and then an 8th note later, just the and is where you hit that A minor 7. 1, 2, and 3. You can play maybe a chord on beat 4, and then B flat, 2, 3, 4. And all the times I had a chance to. Now we're in the instrumental section, which, as you can see, is just another pass of that main thing that we did in the intro. But starting with that instrumental, that's where on the Jackson Browne recordings, the drum kicks in and then the full piano comes in on top of the guitar. So I am going to start just doing octaves in the left hand from here on out. So if you can't stretch that, that's fine. You can keep doing single bass notes. But then it just does that once, and then we're in a new verse. And I had a lover. So this verse is just like the other one, just different words. When you're doing these octaves, you can make a choice when you get to these days. You could go down here for that F or do it up here. These. I'll probably do it up, but I might switch it up throughout. So like I said, that's it in terms of chord progressions in this song. Let's look at after this verse, there's an instrumental. That's where the guitar solo is. But there are a couple little cool additions Jackson Browne does with his piano playing, some little decorations that I'm definitely going to do in the instrumental, but he does them throughout the verses. So let's go through the instrumental and talk about a few of those options. But this is more advanced. I'm going to go quickly, and it's totally optional. One of the things he likes to throw in, and this is very Jackson Browne, is these little sus2 fills. So you're just going to come up to like a root position, B flat chord, and you can just harmonizing with your pinky on the F, but doing C, D, C, B flat. And you can do that on different rhythms. And then also in the second line, when there's the 2 measures of B flat, he does this thing, this stepping up in thirds, where you're on that B flat chord, and you can just step up to 2 and 4 on C and E, and then up to the D and F. And the timing on that is like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. He does that as well in the second and third verses over his singing. I'll also mention, once the full song has kicked in, I'm doing left hand octaves. Whenever I'm just hanging out doing quarter notes in the right hand, I'll do probably some extra bass note hits on like 1, 2, and 3, 4, and just gives it a little bit more movement. Finally, and this is the most advanced one, when we have the D minor to the A minor 7, he does this. So that's just another one of those sus2 fills, but you go to the C and then down to the G. Da, 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 da. And then just straight to the B flat. By the way, all these tricks like the sus2 fills and the stepping up in thirds, that's the kind of stuff that I teach in my piano chord breakthroughs course. We do a lot of practicing with a metronome and building up these different rhythms to get it in your muscle memory so you can apply it to different songs and chord progressions. So check that out if you're interested. Last thing I'll mention about the Jackson Browne version is it ends with many repetitions through that main intro chord progression, but there's a guitar solo. So in the absence of the guitar solo, I'm going to keep it brief, maybe just 2 or 4 repetitions and just ending on a B flat. Okay, as promised, if you came here because you love the Nico version, I'll show you some of the differences. A lot of the differences you'll just see charted out on the chord chart, like the intro has an extra measure of B flat major 7, the second repetition, and then it hangs out on F for a couple measures before the verse starts. So in general, the Nico version is just like a little bit chiller, more spaced out. It's just more brooding overall. But I'll walk you through the verse chords. Here's those. In the first line, the only difference is instead of going down to that kind of brighter sounding C sus4 over E, we're just going to keep this F shape in the hand the whole time we step down. And then just straight to that B flat major 7. We're not going to come up there first, so just D, F, and A in the right hand there. I've been out walking. I don't do too much talking these days. Now this is where in Jackson Browne's version we went these days, but she goes to an A minor instead, and the vocal phrasing is a little different. You just go straight to it. These days. So going to an A bass note here, C, E, and A there. Days. Then when we go to B flat here, we're just gonna be on the B flat major 7. These days I seem to think a lot about the things that I forgot to do. Going to F major 7 there instead of the F. So basically just A, C, E here. Do. Then to C. Now this next part, and all the times I had, this is quite different. It's not too tricky though. Left hand is just gonna walk down the same way we've been doing for the intro and stuff. Right hand's gonna come up and do this B flat inversion here. D, F, B flat, 1, 2, 5. And it's gonna do that, step down, B flat over E. Now a D minor, just D, F, A, D minor over C, and then you can just keep the right hand where it is and step down to the B flat for those 3 measures of B flat major 7 at the end of this. So that's going to be, and all the times I had 3, 4, the chance to, so it's really stretched out there. And then it would go to just F for a couple of measures for the interlude and then repeat around again. And of course, you can pick and choose things you like about each version and combine them into your own. Okay, cool. Thank you for watching. I am now going to do a full cover so you can see how all these parts fit together. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Also subscribe to the channel if you are not already. Click the bell so you know when I put out more videos like this one. Also leave a request in the comments. And here's my version of These Days. Well, I've been out walking, and I don't do that much talking these days. These days. These days I seem to think a lot about the things that I forgot to do for you, and all the times I had a chance to. And I had a lover so long. Things are bound to be improving these days. One of these days. These days I sit on cornerstones and count the time in quarter tones to 10. My friend, failures, I had not forgotten